Hi everyone, welcome back to another preview breakdown, and for those of you who don't know, I'm still recovering from a bilateral pulmonary embolism, so for this week's video we're going to keep things chill and nice and short. But still, the rules remain the same. Please no posting outright spoilers in the comment section below, and if you want to watch the preview in full, a link to that is in the description. So, without further ado, let's see what we got.
It's a dramatic Bachelor 2-night event.
Alright, production's really trying to kill me, aren't they? We have a 2-night special coming at us next week. Looks like they're going to try and wrap things up and get back on track for a mid-March finale. But basically, this preview is structured into 2 parts. The rest of the season, then the women tell-all. There's no new footage of the tell-all in this preview, so we're just gonna skip over that part and focus on the fantasy suite stuff, which shows us pretty much everything we've speculated from the mid-season preview. Susie is the one Clayton has an argument with. They're going to have a major fallout where it appears as though she'll be self-eliminating, throwing the rest of the season into chaos. So, let's take a look.
What happens on the overnight dates
I am in love with you.
will change everything
I love you!
I love you too!
forever.
I just don't want to hurt anybody. And I'm going to.
Okay, so the absolutely major reveal in this section is that the woman Clayton has said he's in love with during all those past previews is Susie. More importantly, that also means she's the woman he's arguing with in this scene.
This is exactly what I was afraid of. She it up for everybody. And that's the last person I expected to do it. I'm giving you everything. Don't me. Did you just play me this entire time? I need to get out of here. I had no idea this is what was going to happen.
For all the original sleuthing on that, check out my mid-season preview video. We'll get another look at Susie from that night later on, and we'll speculate more on what it all means when we get there. But really, this whole preview has basically just confirmed a lot of our suspicions from earlier on in the season, leading up to this final 3 rose ceremony. But what's still unknown is exactly how things unfold afterwards. For now though, let's keep going.
I am in love with each of you. And I also was intimate with both of you. This is exactly what I was afraid of.
He told me he was falling in love with me.
Alright, so at the start of this section, we have the dinner portion of each of the fantasy suite dates. But while this is all painted to look very dramatic, 2 of these are going to go really well. The third, however, Susie's, that one not so much. Now obviously Gabby's date and Rachel's date goes well, as we know they head into the fantasy suite after dinner. But Susie's ends after Clayton's confession of love. We can see Susie here getting up and walking away, and let's not forget this soundbite that seems to be from after Clayton says he's in love with her.
Why would you just turn around after I just told you I'm in love with you and drop a bombshell? I have to be honest and just let the woman know what happened.
We're gonna get some more info to clue us in on how this all might go down in the section ahead. So, let's move on.
I shouldn't have to ask my future husband to not sleep with somebody else.
I never thought he could be in love with 3 of us. In love. I don't know what to do right now.
It's the most shocking and emotional ending ever.
Okay, so this is where the fantasy suite section of the preview ends. Well, except for one more part where Clayton says his famous line.
Say the line, Bart.
I'm so broken.
After that, it cuts to the women tell-all part of the preview. But again, that's all comprised of reused footage from earlier on in the season. So, nothing new. But let's now head back to the ending of the last section where we hear the reason why Susie seems to be self-eliminating.
I shouldn't have to ask my future husband to not sleep with somebody else.
So it would seem as though Susie asks Clayton, or Clayton just tells Susie, that he slept with both Rachel and Gabby. Susie then is not happy about this and starts having doubts. Something that I think was already set up a bit during Hometowns, with Susie's mom warning her to be cautious of Clayton's feelings.
He didn't say that he's in love with you. He said, but he can see that he could get there with you. Proceed with caution. Yeah.
I think my mom being concerned is like something I will keep in the back of my head. Proceed with caution, I think is what she said.
And if the previous preview clips are to be believed, it kinda seems as though Clayton tells her he's in love with her, and around that moment, maybe as the fantasy suite card comes out, Susie asks Clayton if he slept with the other women. At that point, he's honest, and it all goes to crap. Now, of course, the details here might be off, but that might explain the clip of Clayton being upset at how Susie responded to him saying he's in love with her. But regardless of how exactly this all goes down, the date seems to end right there. And with Susie seemingly not present and talked about in the past tense at this rose ceremony,
What I'm about to say is not going to be easy to hear, but I want to be fully transparent. I was in love with her, and I am in love with each of you.
if I had to bet, I'd say she's likely already self-eliminated at this point. Also, with this shot of Rachel saying he's in love with 3 of us, we can see that she's in her same outfit from the final 3 rose ceremony. Meaning, it appears as though her and Gabby first learn about Clayton being in love with all 3 of them that night and not earlier. Which would make sense considering how happy Rachel seems to be the morning after her fantasy suite. It also makes me think that Susie will be the last fantasy suite of the 3. The blowout happens, Clayton wants to be fully transparent, he tells them about everything, and the season starts to crumble. But what happens from here? These are my thoughts. 1. The season halts. Everyone is so upset, and we won't be getting the traditional final 2 dates or rose ceremony. 2. Somewhere along the line, Clayton decides he wants to be with Rachel. Maybe at some point he meets again with Susie, maybe he takes some time to figure things out. I guess it's possible he goes after any of the final 3, but I'm thinking Rachel. And I want to be clear that I'm basing my reasoning for this thought on the editing that Rachel's gotten thus far, and my personal view of the connection Clayton has with Rachel, which so far, at least in terms of what we've seen on the show, to me feels far more developed than what we've seen with Gabby, or even with Susie. Not to mention this whole breakup business probably is going to be the end of their relationship altogether. Then 3, the season doesn't end traditionally. Show creator Mike Fleiss recently tweeted that the ending is still unknown. Which could mean nothing, I mean he's been known to blow smoke before, but also he could be saying this because the season ends with Clayton alone, and him and Rachel, or whoever, will only be getting back together at the after the final rose. Then, finally, in the most shocking ending ever, Clayton announces his engagement to Sally, the previously engaged girl who went home before the season even started. The end. Nah, just kidding, but is it sad to say I'm only like 95% kidding? Why does this feel like something that could actually happen in this franchise? So there you have it, a smaller sleuthing report for the upcoming Fantasy Suites episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to leave your thoughts and theories in the comments section below, and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Next week we have 2 episodes to get through, so until then, Bachelor Fantake, out.
Say the line, Bart!
I'm so broken.